So, what do rockets, electric cars, and a social media app all have in common? Well, it turns out they're all part of Elon Musk's grand plan, a single unifying theory for the entire future of humanity. Today, we're going to break that down.
It's a question a lot of people ask. And according to the man himself, the answer isn't just about building a bunch of successful companies. No, it's about creating a future where humanity can transcend its current limitations. And it all starts with a pretty surprising idea.
Yeah, we're talking about a super cohesive vision that links all these different projects to one really profound mission. And it all kicks off with something he calls the consciousness machine.
Okay, let's start with something we all know, the app X. Now, you probably see it as, just another social media platform, right? But for Musk, it's the very first step in building a global collective mind.
So Musk's stated goal for X is to build this thing he calls a collective consciousness. Think about it for a second. Features like automatic translation, they're not just there for convenience. They're designed to literally tear down language barriers, allowing all of humanity to think and create as one single unified entity. He actually draws this really cool parallel to biology. Just think, you have 30 trillion individual cells all working together to create a single human being. He believes a connected humanity can do the same, to achieve things that would be totally impossible for any one person, like becoming a multiplanetary species. Okay, so why? Why build this giant global mind in the first place? Well, according to Musk, it's to get us ready for a future where the whole concept of work just becomes obsolete. So Musk makes this incredibly bold prediction. In less than 20 years, he believes AI and robotics are going to make human labor completely optional. I mean, seriously, what would you do in a world where you didn't have to work? And that leads to what he calls a post-scarcity world. If robots and AI can provide any good or service you could possibly need, then money, well, as we know it, it just becomes meaningless. He says it's just a system for allocating human labor. And in this kind of future, you just don't need that anymore. So, in a world where AI and robotics provide everything, the only real currency left is energy. That's the one fundamental physics-based limit that we just can't engineer a way around. Okay, so we've got this future of abundance, right? But what's the point? For Musk, it is absolutely not just about getting free stuff. There's something much, much deeper going on here.
He's a massive fan of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which you probably know famously says the answer to life, the universe, and everything is 42. But the real problem is nobody even knows what the question is.
And this is where it all clicks together. That whole collective consciousness thing, powered by AI, it's not the end goal, it's the tool. A tool to help all of us finally figure out what questions we should even be asking about the universe to begin with. Okay, hold on, because this brings us to the final and honestly the most mind-bending layer of his entire theory. The idea that our reality isn't exactly what it seems. So Musk makes this philosophical argument for the simulation theory, and it all comes down to video games. Just think about it. 50 years ago, we had Pong, just two rectangles and a dot. Today, we've got these photorealistic, immersive virtual worlds. So if that trend keeps going, even if it slows down a bit, games are going to become completely indistinguishable from reality. Which leads to the big question, what are the odds that we, right now, are in the one base reality and not one of the billions of simulations?
And you know what? He even has a theory for why our simulation would even exist. He basically reasons that, look, any boring simulations would just get shut down, right? So the very fact that we're still here, well, that must mean our reality is a pretty interesting one. It's like a cosmic game, and the most interesting story is the one that gets to continue. And that really just brings us to the final question, doesn't it? If Musk is right, if we're all just characters in some grand simulation where the most interesting story wins, what kind of story are you going to be a part of?